and delighted to welcome you all to this special program. Our speaker this evening is none other than the noted authoress, Josephine March, who I'm sure you'll agree needs no introduction, except to say that she's a celebrated speaker on women's issues, a dedicated speaker of matter importance to all of us, and a somewhat of infamous suffragette. But tonight, I hope, we will be hearing from Josephine March the literary sense. Her stories and characters have brought us so much fulfillment over the years. She's a national treasure, and we are so delighted and honored to have us here as our guests in Springfield. Please welcome Josephine March.
Thank you for that spirited welcome. Since I don't have any plans of getting myself arrested while here in Springfield, I will limit my talk to a rather safe subject, literary fiction. I am often asked why I became a writer and have never found a satisfactory answer except to say that I am who I am and Jo March always wanted to write. If I could somehow let you see the real Jo March, you will understand why I write. My whole life, I suppose, has been a series of adventures. Not the kind that one thinks of as dazzling or grand, but the kind we all experience. And I have learned that such a journey is no less exciting than the adventures of Odysseus. If I had to pick a moment in time when I began this journey, it would be the Christmas of 1863. We lived in a town not unlike this one, in a New England that was far away from a raging war. Father had lost a great deal of money in a bad business venture some years before, so the March family was not so grand as it had once been. But we were able to keep our house and made ends meet as best we could. When the war came, Father was too old to go as a soldier, so he joined Mr. Lincoln's army as a chaplain. He had left the spring before, and money matters were more difficult than ever. But still, it was Christmas Eve, and the March family was nothing if not spirited.
Beth, look what we found in the attic.
They're not really tree decorations, but they'll do well enough. Let me see. Just a minute.
This old banner from Joe's play last summer might make a suitable garland.
Oh, look at this. Our angel for the top of the tree. This is pretty. Oh, Beth, let me have it. I can make a hair ribbon out of it, don't you think?
We'll get this sad old tree looking magical before Mama gets home. If only there were dozens of presents to put under it.
Oh, Christmas won't be Christmas without any presents.
It's so dreadful to be poor.
I don't think it's fair for some girls who have plenty of pretty things, and other girls nothing at all. But we've got father and mother and each other. But we haven't got father. Not at home we don't. And who's to say how long it will be before we see him again?
You know the reason Mother proposed to not having any presents this Christmas was because it's going to be a hard winter for everyone. And money ought not be spent for pleasure when our men are suffering so in the army. We can't do much, but we can make our little sacrifices, and we ought to do it gladly. I just wish I felt more glad about it.
That is Meg, the oldest and most practical of the March girls. We all looked up to Meg because she always seemed so responsible.
I wouldn't mind being so poor and not having nice things if I didn't have to go to that horrible school with those impudent girls who laugh at your dresses and label your father if he isn't rich. I wish we were as wealthy as the Lawrences. I'd thumb my nose at those girls and teach them a thing or two about manners.
That's Amy, the youngest, and as she liked to remind us, the prettiest.
Oh dear, that key is sticking again.
Oh, don't stop, Beth.
I love it when you play. I only wish I played better. Then this old piano wouldn't sound so bad. I know it seems so funny to say, but in some ways, I'm glad we're not rich. Whatever for, Beth?
What do you mean, Beth?
Well, weren't you saying just the other day, Meg, that the watching children you have to tend to are always fighting and fretting all the time in spite of their money?
Well, yes.
And that we were a great deal happier than they were? Well, I think we are. For though we do have to do work and do without things, we make fun for ourselves, and I wouldn't want it any other way.
And that's our Beth. So sweet, so kind and gentle, but also so shy that she was content never to leave her house and her piano if she didn't have to. We all adored Beth, but her frail health and timid manner were a concern to all the family.
Hello, Don Pedro. Where are ye, thou sniveling swine of a villainous wretch?
But the most troubling of the March sisters was undoubtedly myself.
Hello, dears.
You're home early.
Yes, I escaped. Aunt March dozed off in the middle of chapter 7 of St. Augustine's Confessions, so I tiptoed out with her being none the wiser. Christopher Columbus, look at that tree.
sleigh, please.
Well, Mikey, it's miraculous. Maybe we'll have a bit of Christmas around here after all. And how's my Beth today?
Fine, Joe. Joe, look at your dress.
What's the matter with it?
Joe, have you been sitting too near the fireplace again?
Oh, I just singed it a little. It gave Aunt March quite a start, I must admit.
Oh, how I detest rude, unladylike
And
girls.
how I hate defective little niminy-piminies.
Stop it, both of you. Really, you're both to blame. You're old enough to leave off boys' tricks and to behave better, Josephine. It didn't matter so much when you were a little girl, but you're a lady now.
I hate to think I've got to grow up and be Miss March and wear long gowns and look as prim as a china doll. It's bad enough I have to be a girl when I like boys' games, work, and manners. I can't get over my disappointment in not being a boy, and it's worse than ever now, for I'm dying to go fight with Father, and I can only sit home and knit like a poky old woman.
Poor Joe, it's too bad, but it can't be helped. You must try to be contented with making your name boyish and playing brother to us girls. Or playing those silly men and those silly plays of yours.
As for you, Amy, you're altogether too particular and prim. Your airs are funny now, but you'll grow up an affected little goose if you don't take care.
Honk, honk!
That's enough, Joe.
Yes, my dears, and peace on Christmas Eve, I say. Speaking of those silly little plays of mine, Amy, we'd better rehearse. We've got to be ready for tomorrow night's performance. Come here. Let's go over that fainting scene, for you're as stiff as a poker in that.
I can't help it. I never saw anyone faint before, and I don't choose to make myself all black and blue, tumbling as flat as you do.
Oh, come, give it a try. You're the only one who can play Zaza. You're the only one light enough to be carried off shrieking by Don Pedro. Beth, will you give us some music?
Yes, Joe.
Meg, have you got your cue?
I think so.
Good. We'll take it from Don Pedro's entrance. We'll use this comb as my pistol. As the hour of my revenge approaches, listen, my sweet, and you shall hear my hounds as they track down your beloved Rodrigo.
It cannot be so, Rodrigo. Save me, save me.
No, no, no. Do it like this. Clasp your hands like so and stagger across the room crying frantically, Rodrigo, save me, save me. You see? Try it again.
Oh, dear. It cannot be so, Rodrigo. Save me, save me.
It's no use. Do the best you can, and when the time comes, if the audience laughs, do not blame me.
I don't see how you can write and act such splendid things, Joe. You're a regular Shakespeare.
Oh, I don't know about that, but I do think The Witch's Curse, an operatic tragedy, is a rather nice thing. But I'd much rather like The Time Macbeth. If only we had a trapdoor for Banquo. Is this a dagger I see before me?
No, it's that horrid hurricane lamp Aunt March gave us 2 Christmases ago.
Glad to find my girl so merry.
Marmy!
We had called our mother Marmy as far back as I can remember. She is the most unselfish woman I have ever known. Everyone in the town admired her, and we thought she was the most splendid mother in the world.
Well, girls, how have you got on today? How's your cold, Beth?
I'm okay.
Meg, you look so tired. Who's watching children in bad sorts today?
No, Mommy.
Was school all right, Amy?
No.
Joe, how did you find out March today?
Well, she found her well enough, but left her sleeping.
I've got a treat for you.
Hello,
3 cheers for
A
Father!
nice long one. He is quite well and thinks they shall get through the winter better than he feared. He sends all sorts of loving wishes for Christmas and a special message to you girls. I'll read that part to you. Here it is. Give them all my dear love.
My dear love and a kiss. Tell them I think of them, pray for them, and find my best comfort in their affection at all times. A year seems very long to wait before I see them again. But remind them that while we wait, we shall work so that the hard-earned days need not be wasted. I know they remember all I said to them, that they will be kind and loving children to you, and they will do their duty faithfully and conquer themselves so beautifully, so that when I return, I may be fonder and prouder.
I may be fonder and prouder than ever of my little women.
Meg is right. I am a selfish little goose.
Oh, my dear Amy.
And I'll try not to be so rough and wild, and do my duty here instead of wishing to be someplace else.
Good evening, Mrs. March. And this is Hannah, our housekeeper, our cook, our Rock of Gibraltar. She had been with us since Meg was a baby.
Hannah, Merry Christmas.
And a Merry Christmas to you too, Mom. I'd best be telling you that the carriage has just pulled around to the front walk, and I don't have to make you guess what it might be.
Aunt March?
Yes.
Here? Now? Whatever does she want?
Aunt March never goes out.
Especially in the winter.
Joe, do you know anything about this?
Well,
Josephine!
yes, Aunt March?
It's
extremely unpleasant. She was widowed and childless and rarely left her big house on the hill because of her many ailments. Aunt March did hire me as a companion when the war came, and it was my job to read to her and be at her beck and call.
Josephine left me today before I had a chance to give her these. One for each of the girls. $1 each.
Thank you, Aunt March.
You can thank me by spending it wisely, and not in the foolish manner that young girls are accustomed to these days.
Yes,
Aunt March.
Thank you, Aunt March. Won't you stay for some tea?
Nothing of the kind, Margaret. I must get home before I catch my death from this cold. It was not a trip I anticipated taking.
I understand. You would be glad to hear, Aunt March, that I received a letter from Mr. March today. He is quite well, thank God, and speaks optimistically of the winter ahead.
Foolish nephew. To run off and join the army at his age, where does he get up doing such a thing? And to leave his family behind for others to
We take care of ourselves, Aunt March.
Joe, thank you for coming, Aunt March, and please accept my warmest Christmas wishes.
Yes. Good day to all.
Christopher Columbus.
A whole $1.
We shall have Christmas after all.
Here you are, girls.
I shall get a nice box of Favor's drawing pencils. I really need them.
I'm going to buy that blue and yellow bonnet. You know, Joe, the one we saw at Mason's?
Nothing like that for me, thanks. I've had my eyes on those volumes of Undine and Sintram for the longest time, and now I can have them.
What about you, Beth? What are you going to do with your $1?
Do you think it would be all right, Marmee, if I bought some new sheet music? They have so many wonderful songs at Mason's. Maybe I should get some new hair ribbons instead. What do you think, Meg?
Why not buy only a few pencils? Then you might have enough for some hair ribbons as well.
Mrs. March, this has just come. That little German boy ran around to the back door. I told him to wait. It's the Hummels. Oh, Mrs. Hummel's baby must be coming soon. Hannah, please fetch my cloak and hat. But you haven't had your tea. Hurry, there's no time to lose.
But who are the Hummels, Beth? They're the German family that lives by the warehouses.
Mr. Hummel was killed in Virginia, and now there's no one to care for Mrs. Hummel and her 4 children. Soon it will be 5 children. Thank you, Hannah. Girls, you're not to wait up for me. Joe.
Yes, Marmee?
I leave you in charge of the household tonight. Beth,
Yes, Marmee?
be sure to take your medicine.
I will.
Good night, my dears.
Good night, Marmee.
That poor woman.
I don't see why the Hummels have to ruin our Christmas Eve.
Oh, Amy, the Hummels have bigger problems than deciding whether to buy pencils or hair ribbons.
Somehow, wishing for some new sheet music seems so selfish of me. The old sheet music is perfectly fine.
Look, Marmie's slippers. See how worn they are?
I know. I'll get her a new pair with my $1. Who needs some silly old books?
No, Joe, I'll buy Marmie the slippers. I'm the oldest.
But she left me in charge of the household. I'll get them.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We'll each get her something with our own money and not worry about ourselves.
What? That's so like you, dear Beth. What will we get?
Well, since you're going to buy Marmie the slippers, Joe, I'll buy her a nice pair of gloves.
Some handkerchiefs, all hemmed. She'll like that. I'll get her a little bottle of cologne. She likes cologne and it won't cost much, so I'll have some left to buy my pencils.
Come on, girls. Let's hurry up and get to Mason's before he closes up for Christmas Eve.
Come along, girls. Beth, be sure to wear your heavy scarf.
This is going to be a capital Christmas after all.
Maybe if I get a very little bottle of cologne, then I'll have enough money for 1 hair ribbon and 5 pencils, or 2 hair ribbons and 3 pencils.
Marmee didn't return that night. I lay awake thinking what a strange Christmas it was to be, with no stockings filled with presents, no fancy Christmas dinner, no father, and maybe even no Marmee. I thought of Father far away and how odd his Christmas would be. I thought of Marmee with the Hummels. And as I finally began to get sleepy, I started seeing things the way an adult does. The thought made me shiver, and I pulled the quilt on both my head and went to sleep.
Marmie!
Marmee, Merry Christmas!
Look what I got. Hannah, where's Marmie?
Not so with that Jarman family.
I suppose so, but I've gone and prepared breakfast all the same. Someone ought to remember it's Christmas around here.
Hannah, what's that smell?
Not popovers.
And why not? It's a holiday.
Oh, Hannah.
And sausages. And
Hannah, how did you manage?
Never you mind. Everything's just about ready now. So come on in. I'll not have it all going cold on us.
3 cheers for
thing. Let Marmee decide what she'll open first.
I'll decide. We'll have breakfast first, then.
No, please.
Hannah's right, my dear. I shall open them in good time.
Well, I guess I can wait if you can. Come on, girls, let's eat.
What is it, Mommy?
What's the matter, Marmee?
Exhausted, that's what she is.
Oh, sit down right here, Mommy.
I'm a bit tired, but I would like to say something before we all sit down to eat.
What is it, Marmee?
Mrs. Hummel had a baby early this morning, and thank God the little thing seems healthy enough. But the family, well, 6 of them have no fire and are huddled in one bed to keep from freezing. And there's no food, and they struggle so. My girls, I would like to buy them some Christmas firewood before I do anything else this Christmas.
Oh, of course, Marmee, and we will help.
And there's something I need to ask of you. Would you be willing to give the Hummels your Christmas breakfast Eve present? I know Hannah has prepared something special, but
It's a good thing you came home before we ate it all by our greedy little selves.
Yes, Mommy, let's do it. Even the popovers.
Certainly the popovers.
Won't the Hummels be surprised?
I'll even put some firewood in the car. Even any fresh cream?
And I'll push the cart.
We can warm the wheat cakes in front of the fire that we made for them.
Can I carry the popovers?
We'd better let Beth take them, just to be safe.
What a funny forceful angels you were, the Hummels, all scurrying around their shabby one-room hovel like schoolgirls at a class outing. Beth tended to the baby. Hannah got a good roaring fire going, and the rest of us served food to the family, whose joyful expressions brought tears to our eyes, even as we couldn't help thinking with pleasure. And then it was home for a simple breakfast of sweet bread and milk, and then to church, and then back home. That evening was the great performance of The Witch's Curse, an operatic tragedy. No gentlemen were admitted, but the all-women audience, made up of Hannah and Marmee, was indiscriminately enthusiastic.
It must be the curse of the old witch that has slain my beloved Rodrigo. For he promised to come ere the sun touched the nether edges of the great oaks that surround this castle.
I hear horses in the courtyard, my Lady Zaza. Perhaps it is he.
Oh, tarry not and go out and find out, my faithful nurse. My heart shall be forever frozen grief till I know it is he.
Certainly, my lady.
Oh, hither, hither from my home, to this dreary castle have I come. Only Rodrigo's love can make us be glad and save me from a villainous cast.
Zaza, I have come.
Alas, it is Don Pedro, my heart's scourge and my love's enemy.
There you are. So the hour of my revenge approaches. Listen, my sweet, and you shall hear my hounds as I track down your beloved Rodrigo.
It cannot be so, Rodrigo! Save me, save me!
The minion has fainted. But my scheme will secure all for me, and Zaza will be mine.
Don Pedro, your hour of reckoning has arrived. Rodrigo is coming.
Insolent one, my hounds will reduce him to nothing but
That sound you just heard was your hounds retreating, and Rodrigo has slain your soldiers in the courtyard.
accursed irony. I'll have to destroy the upstart myself.
Arise, my lady. Rescue is at hand.
Hello, Don Pedro. Where are ye, thou sniveling swine of a villainous wretch?
Rodrigo!
Draw thy weapon, insidious one.
Let us avert our eyes, my lady, or our hearts will break.
Justice, righteousness, and the honor of my beauteous Zaza.
My ever-true Rodrigo!
It is I.
You have not forgotten your Ow!
Act as if it were all right.
Can't.
There's just a little bit more. You'll see.
My
Go
dress!
My lady, Rodrigo, look! The setting sun is touching the nether edges of the great oaks.
I broke the strap of my shoe!
Did I not promise it so?
Long live Prince Rodrigo.
The sunset brings to sudden end the aged curse the old witch did send. And so we close this valiant tale with heartfelt cheer to wish all thee well. My clever girls.
Oh, I never thought I could do it, Marmee. Did you see me shaking?
I do wish you were right, less violent plays, Joe. Look at my shoe!
Did you like it, Mommy? Really like it?
It was thrilling. I'm so proud of all of you. But listen, I have a special surprise for you all.
What is it, Mommy?
A surprise?
Compliments of Mr. Lawrence next door.
Ice cream? Fruitcakes?
And lovely cookies, too.
In the winter.
Old Mr. Lawrence sent it. What in the world put something like that into his head?
Hannah told one of his servants about your breakfast party for the Hummels this morning. He's an odd old gentleman, but hearing about this pleased him so. He sent a note to me this afternoon asking if he might offer a few trifles in honor of the day.
A few trifles? Caress me know. I'm only Joe. And you see, Mr. Lawrence, I only came to thank
I'm
your
not Mr.
grandfather.
Lawrence. I'm only Laurie.
Laurie Lawrence? What an odd name.
No, my first name is Theodore, but I don't like it because the fellows at school called me Dora for short. So I made them say Laurie instead.
I hate my name too, Josephine, so sentimental. I wish everybody would just say Joe. How'd you make the boys at school stop calling you Dora?
I thrashed them.
Oh, well, I can't very well thrash Aunt March, so I guess I'll just have to bear. This house is capital. Just capital. Boy, what I could do with a house like this.
You mean for one of your plays?
How did you know about that?
Oh, well, you see, Miss March. Oh, won't you sit down?
Thank you, Mr. Lawrence.
I am very much alone here. Grandfather likes his books and is quiet. And, well, I get awfully bored, you understand. And oh, well, sometimes you forget to put down the curtain in your sitting room window. And I've seen you rehearse.
You have?
How I wish I could have seen the performance last night. But there was someone blocking the view. I am sorry.
Don't apologize, Laurie.
You see, sometimes when the lamps are lit, it's like looking at a picture with the fire and you all gathered around your mother. I can't help from watching it. I haven't a mother, you know.
And that's why you've come to live with your grandfather?
Well, Grandfather took me out of school last fall to come here and be tutored privately. Grandfather doesn't hold much store in schools and such. So here I am.
It must be dull as blazes all alone in a house like this all day. Oh, excuse my slang.
That's quite all right.
Christopher Columbus, if I had known you were interested, I'd have had you play Rodrigo. You'd have been smashing.
I'd have done my best. I played Macduff in school once.
You did? Did you have a trapdoor?
Then yield the coward and live to be the show and gaze of the time.
Before my body, I'd throw a warlike shield. Lay on, Macduff.
Would this have done for you, Rodrigo?
Capital. I tell you, Mr. Lawrence. Laurie, we'll never draw that curtain again, and I give you leave to look as much as you'd like. Better yet, come over and join us. We are neighbors, aren't we? Not strangers.
Yes, but...
Oh, your grandfather. Yes, he does seem a frightful old bird, but I don't think I should be much afraid of him. His mouth is grim, true, but he has kind eyes. And he's not as handsome as my grandfather was, but I think I like him all the same.
Thank you, ma'am.
Grandfather, you're back already?
So, you're not afraid of me, eh?
Not much, sir.
You don't think me as handsome as your grandfather.
Not quite, sir.
My mouth is grim,
Well,
but you like me in spite of it.
Yes, I do, sir.
Ha, 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 you've got your grandfather's spirit, even if I haven't his face. He was a fine man, my dear, and what is better, he was a brave and honest one, too. And I was proud to be his friend.
Thank you, sir.
But what have you been doing with this boy of mine, eh?
Only trying to be neighborly, sir.
Of course, something I'm somewhat lacking in, you might say.
Oh, no, sir. I only came to thank you for that splendid Christmas present you sent us yesterday.
Tut, tut, that was very much of the boy's doing. John!
Yes, sir?
This is Mr. Brooke, my grandson's student. John, has your pupil been attentive today?
Well, Mr. Lawrence, this being a holiday season now, any student tends to get a bit.
Exactly. Do you think your pupil would suffer much of a disciplinary setback if I were to arrange a social gathering in this house, let's say New Year's Eve?
Not at all, sir.
Then we must entertain such a notion. What do you say to a dance? Young people still enjoy dancing, I suppose.
Thank you, Grandfather.
Do you mean it, sir?
Wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. John, best help Theodore with the preparations. No time to lose. Give my best to your mother, Miss March. A frightful old bird, I declare.
Miss March, I do think I believe in miracles.
There have been few dances since the war started, and even fewer than the march from We have splendid time at this home. Anything, especially when you're too young to dance, or invited to the day. As for Meg and I, we were struggling for life.
Oh, this hair ribbon looks so sad. How I need a long, beautiful yellow one.
Looks fine, dear.
Do I really have to go, Marnie? I'd much rather stay at home with you.
But Mr. Lawrence has invited you, Beth, and it would be impolite not to accompany the other girls.
I wouldn't miss it for the world.
And they'll have music there, Beth. I heard Clara say that they hired 16 musicians.
There you are, Miss Meg. I've got that skirt looking as happy as I can get it.
Thank you, Hannah.
Where's Joe?
Joe! 16 musicians. Joe? Is that true, Meg?
Have you got your gloves, girls?
Joe's getting mine. Joe, come on, we're waiting.
I heard that Laurie and Gardner is wearing that also
be rude to arrive too late. Joe!
I'd look much better than Lorraine in that silk dress. It's just my color.
I say we call the whole thing off. Look at my gloves. The lemonade stains didn't come off. Here are yours, Meg. They look fine.
But you can't go without gloves, Joe. Who ever heard of dancing without gloves?
Dancing? Not very likely, but this.
Joe! Pet show? Something awful.
It's my own fault. This burn from the fireplace ought to teach me once and for
Tonight you
all.
must sit as much as you can and keep your back out of sight at all times.
That'll be a challenge. Maybe if I keep my coat on all night, I'll have an excuse to stay on the porch.
It's hardly noticeable. Here's your coats on, girls.
What are we going to do about Joe's gloves, Marmee?
I'll go without. I don't care what people say.
Meg, you give Joe one of your gloves, and then each of you hold the soiled ones folded up in your other hand.
As long as she doesn't go and stain my good one. And Joe, do behave nicely. You won't shout out or say Christopher Columbus or stare, will you?
I'll be as prim as I can and try not to get into any scrapes, if I can help it.
Be sure to give my best regards to Mr. Lawrence.
We will.
Bye. Goodbye.
Bye.
The dance was an incredible experience on the march. Meg and I left, of course, and all that the evening stayed together. But everyone had their troubles, including Lauren. She was complained by Mrs. Maltby to dance on Clara. Meg was very easy. Meg wanted so much to make a good impression. The Maltby's not people high in society. Beth tried hard to overcome her shyness, and I tried not to become a spectacle. But before the evening ended, a greater disappointment settled on the marches.
And you must be here, Mr. Lawrence. We've heard so much about you. Dad and Senator daughter Clara. Pleased to meet you. How do you do? We were so hoping to see you in session. As I was saying to Clara, I said how the young Mr. Lawrence looks like his father. You had Monica. You knew my father, Mrs. Walken? Well, no. For one, he is much about him. The late Mr. Lawrence is very highly esteemed here in Concord. I see. And I'm sure I speak for many others when I say how delightful it is to have you here. Thank you. I was saying just that to Clara at supper. Isn't it delightful, Clara, to have Mr. Lawrence?
Excuse me, but I believe they've started the dancing. And I'm sure Clara's dance card is quite full.
Well, actually, she does have a dance or two still open, if you would care to, Mr. Lawrence.
Mother, I believe they've started the dancing, and I promised this first dance to someone, and here I stand babbling away. John, perhaps.
May I have the honor of the first dance, Miss Clara?
Why, yes, Mr. Brooke.
I hope you have a pleasant evening.
May I?
Mr. Brooke, by any chance you remember the family?
There you are.
Laurie,
Where have you been hiding? I've been looking for you ever since supper.
hiding? Why would I be hiding? Isn't this orchestra just splendid? I tell you, your grandfather really does know how to do a thing right.
There'd be no dance at all if it weren't for you.
Oh, nonsense.
My only regret is that he saw fit to invite so many people that I haven't been able to talk to you all evening.
Oh, you can talk to me any old time, Laurie. But this music.
Then let's not waste it. Where's your dance card?
Oh, well, I lost it.
Then I claim this dance for myself.
No, I mean, I can't. For I promised Meg I wouldn't because...
Because what?
You promise you won't tell.
Not a word.
Well, I have a pretty bad habit of sitting too near the fireplace. And sometimes I burn my frocks. Well, I scorched these ones pretty badly. And though they're nicely mended, it shows something awful. And Meg told me to sit still so no one would see.
Joe, you are the oddest girl.
You can laugh, it's funny, I know.
Well, never mind that. We must find a way to get around it. You can't come to a dance and not dance at all. Especially since I've so been looking forward to it.
Oh, I'm so sorry, Laurie. It's all my fault.
Well, I'll tell you how we can manage. This hall goes right behind the musicians. We can dance out there and no one will see us.
A capital idea.
Will you do me the honor, Miss March?
Certainly, Mr. Lawrence.
Let's go then. Are you all right, Miss March? Oh, ever so fine, Mr. Brooke. I'm having a marvelous time, but it's just that I would like a breath of air. It's much cooler up there. Please go back inside.
I'd much rather stay out here with you, if you don't mind.
Oh, but I'd hate for you to miss any of the dancing.
I'm afraid I should get more than my fair share of dancing tonight.
Yes, there certainly does seem to be a shortage of young men here. Oh, the war, and to be expected, I suppose. I understand you have someone who suits Miss March. In what way do you mean?
Laurie tells me you're working as a governess for the Watson family.
That is true, although governess is a much grander word than I would use. I'm not a true teacher as you are.
Tutors, I'm afraid, are not quite as respected as teachers are, but I do like it.
See, I only wish I liked teaching more, but I never got the education one ought to have. Not like you.
If you had pupils like Laurie, you'd like it more. I'll be sorry to lose him when he goes off to college.
Oh, what will become of you?
Once he is off, I shall turn soldier. I am needed.
That's very good to hear. I should think that every young man would want to go, though it is hard for mothers and sisters who stay at home.
I have neither and very few friends to care whether I live or die.
Oh, but that cannot be true.
No?
Well, surely Laurie and Mr. Lawrence would care a great deal, and others as well, such as my sisters and I.
Thank you. That is very pleasant to hear.
Perhaps I've had enough fresh air.
Certainly. And may I be able to finish my dance with you?
Yes, you may, Mr. Brooke.
Wonderful.
Amy, come back. Someone might see us. Would it be so awful? I want to see some of the dancing. We promised Margaret that we'd wait with the parents until Joe and Meg are ready to leave. Who wants to go to a dance and not see any dancing? Oh, Meg, look. There's Meg. Just look at that Lorraine Gardner. Do you see the grand piano at all? I should say so. Come and look. It's as big as our dining room. Oh, the music is so lovely. I can't wait until I'm old enough to go dancing. Someone's coming. We'll hide behind here. No one will see us.
Who's there? Who's got a mouth? Ah, the younger March sisters, I believe. And which one might you be?
Amy, sir.
Welcome, Amy, and
She's shy, sir.
she isn't she? That's no way to be.
She'd sooner die than talk to strangers.
Is that true? But I thought we were neighbors.
That's right, Beth. Yes, sir.
That is it. You're the musical one, I understand.
Yes, sir.
Did you see that great hunk of piano in the other room?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait. That piano suffers from want of use. Perhaps you could come over and play it sometime.
I couldn't.
Why not? Oh, I forgot. You're shy. Well, you needn't see or speak to anyone. Just go in when it pleases you. I'm usually shut up in my study at the other end of the house. And Theodore and his tutor work upstairs. Not even the servants go in there after 9 each morning. What do you say?
She'll do it, Mr. Lawrence. I can convince her. Well, if you're sure it wouldn't be disturbing anyone, I would dearly love to.
Thank you. I shall be much obliged to you. A pleasant evening, ladies.
Good night, Mr. Lawrence. Beth, you were wonderful. You spoke to Miss Lawrence like I don't know what. Can we go back now, Amy? Not just yet. I want to see you Clara dance.
But it is pretty obvious, isn't it, Clara? What is, Mother? I can never understand you. The Lawrence boy. The first time he makes any appearance in society. And those March girls descend on the place. Oh, I'm sure they were invited, Mother. Oh, that has nothing to do with it. I'll bet you anything that Daisy March has got the young Lawrence boy pegged up one of her elder daughters. Meg, Joe? And don't think that isn't a fine feather in her cap, capturing the wealthy Lawrence one of the girls, especially when they have no money of their own and no prospects likely to turn up.
I don't think that Joe March would want to marry any boy.
Oh, don't talk nonsense, Clara. You take my word for it. The oh so charitable Mrs. March has got plans for those girls.
Why, all that? Beth, did you hear that? Why, Beth, you're crying. Oh, wait, it's all right, my dears. You don't none of it is true. Can we go back now, Amy? Yes, right away.
There you two are. We looked for you in the dining room, but... Why, my Beth, what's the matter?
We have to leave, Joe, right now.
Of course. Laura, will you go get Meg? Certainly. What's happened, Amy?
We can't tell you, not here. Let's get our coats.
Yes, of course.
What is it, Joe? Did something happen to Beth?
Something's upset her terribly. We have to get home right away. Laurie, will you excuse us if we leave right now?
Please, let me see you home then.
No, we'll be fine. And give our goodbyes to your grandfather for us.
Good evening, Mr. Brooke.
Please wait a moment, Miss March. Is it possible that I'll meet you again?
No, I must get home right away. I mean, yes. Thank you, Mr. Brooke, and good night.
Miss March, you dropped the glove.
Once we got home and were able to calm back down, Amy told us we had overheard the conversation. We all got and finally got the other girl on our face. Then we went downstairs and told Lawrence the whole story.
had been there instead of Beth, I would have.
Why do people say such things, Marmee?
For many reasons, my dear Meg, we can never fully know. Learn to recognize the value of praise that comes from other people. And don't busy yourselves trying to understand their scorn.
But Marmee, do you have plans for us, as Mrs. Moffat said?
Yes, my dear, I have a great many. All mothers do. But mine differ somewhat from Mrs. Moffat's, I suspect. I want my girls to be beautiful, accomplished, and good. To be admired, loved, and respected. To live a happy youth. To be well and wisely married. And to lead useful, pleasant lives. With as little care and sorrow to try them as God sees fit to send. My dears, I am ambitious for you, but not to have you make a dash in the world. To marry rich men merely because they are rich. Or have splendid houses which are not homes because love is wanting. I would rather see you poor men's wives if you were happy, beloved, and contented, than queens on thrones without self-respect or peace.
I sometimes wonder if poor girls stand a chance unless they're forward or bold.
Then we'll all be old maids.
Joan!
Better to be happy old maids than unhappy wives or maidenly girls running about to find husbands. Don't be troubled, my Meg, for poverty seldom daunts a sincere lover.
We talked late into the night. Not so much as a mother instructing her daughters, but as three women discussing openly and freely. It was the kind of conversation that made it difficult to go back to childhood ways. With the holidays concluded and the long New England winter ahead of us, life settled back into its usual routine for the March family. Each of us four girls had what Marmee called a daily burden. Amy was still in school, and this seemed to cause her endless irritation.
Here she comes.
How does she look?
Simply frightful. Amy, what do you want?
What happened?
Did Mr. Davis strike you with a stick?
Molly says he hits you in the back of the hand so a girl can hardly tie her own hair in.
Is that why I kept you after dismissal, Amy? Certainly not. We just talked.
Talked?
I thought we heard you cry out. I confess that I did raise my voice higher than was necessary. I told him that I was not accustomed to being spoken to in front of others like that, and that if my mother knew about it, she'd never let me return to his silly old school. And what did he say? What could he say? He sort of apologized to me. Then I said that it was bad enough that I had to go to school with a bunch of alien, snobby girls that had the sense of peahens. My hands are just fine, thank you. Ow! She kicked me, that little brat!
Meg's daily burden also included little girls. She was the governess for the Watson children, and she found that being the teacher was even less of an enviable position.
Sarah, please pay attention.
Katie started it. Did not.
Please do not quarrel. We're trying to read the new words on page 16.
I can't read with Sarah poking at me all the time. Did not.
Oh, please. Page 16, Katie, you will start.
My book got all wet when she spilled her tea this afternoon.
Did not.
Will you two stop it? Please stop reading.
That's the same dress you wore twice this week. Why don't you wear a different one? A prettier one.
We're not discussing dresses.
Because she's poor stupid. Everybody knows that.
I'm not stupid.
Enough, you two.
I heard Mama telling Martha that they're as poor as church mice. All governesses are. I'm not stupid.
Enough! Katie, you will start.
My burden, of course, was Aunt March. Being her paid companion had many drawbacks. The old woman truly loved being ill and miserable and enjoyed spreading her misery as widely as possible. But there was one consolation. Her house had a most marvelous library. Uncle March had been quite a reader and had a fascinating collection of books. Having already decided myself that I would be a world-famous writer someday, I would hide myself away in that library and read, every time Aunt March drifted off to sleep or gossiped with callers.
Josephine, where have you been? As if I didn't know. I pay you to keep me company and not my late husband's old book. What have you there?
The Bride of Lammermoor by Sir Walter Scott. Quite German.
Rather more thrilling than appropriate for a young lady, I imagine. We will continue with Mr. Belcham's essays. Let us reread the one on perseverance, as I have seemed to have napped during the later section.
Yes, Aunt March.
Walter Scott, the Bride of Lammermoor. What was my late husband thinking of?
As for Beth, dear, sweet, and fragile Beth, neither school nor outside work suited her. Her shyness and fear of people made any effort to introduce her to the outside world incapable. persuasion on all of our parts, but she did go over to Mr. Lawrence's to play his grand piano. How her face shone when she'd returned, telling us of the magical sounds she never imagined she could create. I had my own private world, a room in the attic where I would retreat to do my writing when the genius was burning inside me.
Joe?
Yes, dear Beth.
I'm sorry to disturb you while you're writing. I know how difficult it must be.
Difficult? This wretched story just will not cooperate. I've got the princess in the tower, and Ferdinand in the dungeon, and Christopher Columbus. My brain aches so.
Oh, I shouldn't bother you then.
Oh, no, my dear Beth. Come sit down. It seems I haven't seen you the past few days.
I've been busy making these.
What is it?
Slippers for old Mr. Lawrence. He's been so kind to let me come over and play his piano. I want to thank him, and I don't know any other way. So I've needlepointed this pair of slippers for him. Do you think it would be all right?
A capital idea. And your needlepoint is top-notch. He couldn't help but love them.
The only thing is, how do I give them to him?
That shouldn't be too difficult. The next time you're over there, you just tell him.
I couldn't. I mean, it would be so forward.
Well, then how's this? You write a little note to go along with them, and I'll get the package to Laurie, and he can put them on his grandfather's desk the next time that he's out, and there you are.
Oh, thank you, Joe. That's what we'll do.
Nice wrapping you've got there, Beth. Isn't that one of Amy's hair ribbons?
Oh, it's the old one she's going to throw out, I think.
Spring came, and with it came my first story that I felt confident enough about to try and sell. I wrapped up the manuscript and, as inconspicuously as I could, walked over to Main Street where the newspaper's editorial office was located over a dentist parlor. There I presented my magnum opus to a balding editor who seemed to care less.
I've been following you, Miss March, ever since you left your house.
No, you haven't.
Yes, I have. And for good reason, too. I haven't seen you in days. You never come out of that old attic of yours. And here the weather has been capital, as you put it.
I've been busy.
So when I saw you sneak off, I just had to follow.
I did not sneak off.
And I find you've come to this place. Such a disappointment. I thought Joe March had a mysterious, dark secret.
No, and stop acting like such a child. You're older than I am.
By 2.5 months. So did you have a bad time in there?
Not very.
You got through quickly.
Yes, thank goodness.
Why did you come alone?
Didn't want anyone to know.
Joe, you are the strangest girl. How many did you want to come out?
Only one. How many did you think?
What's so funny?
You. Where do you think I've been, Laurie?
Why, the dentist, of course. I saw you.
I guess I still have a secret then.
Christopher Columbus, you are an odd girl. I don't think I'll walk you home after all.
I never said that you could.
Very well. I have a secret of my own, you know.
Do you?
And if I tell you mine, you must tell me yours.
Is your secret a nice one?
Oh, isn't it? All about people you know and such fun. I've been aching to tell you for days. Come, you begin.
You promise you won't tell?
Not a word.
And you won't tease me in private?
I never tease.
Yes, you do, but no matter. I just left a story of mine with the editor of the newspaper office up there, and he said he'd give me an answer by next week.
Hurrah for Miss March, the celebrated American authoress.
Hush, it won't come to much, I dare say. I mean, I couldn't rest till I tried, and I didn't tell anyone else because I didn't want anyone else to be disappointed.
It won't fail. Why, Joe, your stories are works of Shakespeare compared to half the rubbish that's published every day.
Thank you, McDuff. Now what's your secret?
Well,
Play fair, Laurie, or I'll never believe you again.
well, do you remember you're telling me some time ago that Meg was angry with you for losing one of her good gloves?
Yes, but...
Well, I know where it is.
Then tell.
John Brooke has it.
Has he? How do you know?
I saw it. It fell out of his pocket and landed on his desk. I don't think he saw me see it, though.
But why?
Don't you see? He must have gotten it somehow at the New Year's Eve dance.
And he's kept it all this time?
Keeps it on him always. Isn't it romantic?
No, it's horrid.
Don't you like it?
No, it's ridiculous. What will Meg say when I tell
You
her?
are not to tell anyone.
I didn't promise.
But that was understood and I trusted you.
Well, I won't tell for the present, but I'm disgusted and wish you hadn't told me. Meg and John Brooke.
I thought you'd be pleased.
At the idea of anyone coming to take my Meg away? No, thank you.
You'll feel better about it when someone comes along to take you away.
I'd like to see someone try it.
So should I.
I don't think secrets agree with me. My mind feels all rumpled since you told me that.
Let me walk you home.
I don't feel like walking. I want to run. Where's back?
Wait, Joe! Joe!
Good afternoon, Miss March.
Joe, how could you go running like that? And at your age, what will people say? When will you stop such romping ways?
Never, till I'm stiff and old and have to use a crutch.
Mr. Brooke, I hope you will excuse my sister. She's a very...
No use trying to apologize for Joe.
Nice talk, Laurie. You were running just as fast.
Faster. I could have caught you if I wanted, but I'm just too much of a gent. I feel as I must apologize for my student's behavior, Miss March. It does not reflect on the tutor or his pupil.
Oh, bosh and nonsense.
Joe!
I'm going in. Goodbye, Laurie. Are you coming, Meg?
In a moment. Good afternoon, Mr. Brooke, and thank you for your company.
The pleasure is all mine, Miss March.
And thanks for that gallop, Mr. Lawrence. It was indescribable.
Same to you, Miss March. Ta-ta.
Come
Joe
along,
March, I'll
Laurie.
never talk to you again as long as I live.
Meg, come back.
Meg was furious thinking I felt thoroughly responsible for embarrassing her in front of Mr. Brooke. When we got home, however, there was a great surprise for our dear sister Beth.
Is it Beth?
Meg, we were waiting for Beth to get back from Mason's and thought you were...
The piano, can you believe it?
Columbus.
Is it from the old gentleman?
I should say so. 3 of his servants brought it over not 10 minutes ago.
What can be taking her? I can't wait to see her face when she sees it.
Here she comes.
Let me tell her.
No, I don't see when they brought it.
But Amy, calm yourself, girls. Oh, you're frightened, dear Beth.
Hush, everyone. Let's stand in front of the piano to hide it.
Marmee, they didn't have any blue thread, so I got... What has happened? What's going on? Ta-da!
It was delivered while you were out.
But
And there's a letter for you.
Isn't it beautiful?
I say it's the most splendid thing.
read the letter, Beth.
What does it say, Beth?
We're just dying to know.
Can you read it, Marmee? It's too lovely.
It's addressed to Miss Elizabeth March. Dear Madam,
Oh, how nice it sounds. I wish someone would write to me so.
I've had many pairs of slippers.
I've slippers in my time, but I never had any that suited me as well as yours. The delicate needlepoint on them reminds me so of my own mother's gentle hands, and I will always treasure them. I have delayed in thanking you, I fear, too long. As I contemplated how I shall repay you, I'd like to pay my debts. So I know you will allow the old gentleman to send you something which once belonged to little granddaughter he lost. I have long hidden her things away, but when I saw you on the steps that evening, you reminded me so of her. I can think of no better place for her piano than with you. And with a hearty thanks, I remain
Your humble servant, James Lawrence.
Christopher Columbus, I do believe you've made a friend, Beth.
Your humble servant, James Lawrence. Only think of his writing that to you, Beth. Wait till I tell those girls at school.
Come on, play it, Beth. Let's hear how it sounds.
Play it, Beth.
Go ahead, Miss Beth.
Play what you were practicing yesterday.
I must thank him.
Of course, dear.
Yes, you write a little note and I'll bring it over.
I can bring it over. No, I must thank him now. Right now. Yes, now.
Well, if that isn't the strangest thing I've ever seen. That piano has turned her head. She'd never have gone in her right mind.
Do you think Beth is all right, Mommy?
I'm sure she is, dear.
Come on, let's look through the window.
Look, there she is at the gate.
She's turning back. She's gone scared.
No, look, she's going up to the door.
I do believe the world is coming to an end.
What is it?
I only came to thank you, sir, for...
Weeks passed and still I heard nothing from the newspaper. I had just about given up hope when I received a note from him saying that he would publish my story, but not until fall when the ads picked up. My payment, no money but the experience of being published. I told no one except Laurie who I swore to secrecy, and I waited for the big day.
But I shall not forget you, Angelo whispered, as the darkness came over his face. The sounds of the nightingale grew louder as Viola pressed his hand to her cheek. She did not say a word except to moan his name over and over again. She could not weep, for his death gave her a great strength that would last her all her life. And when the time came for the last nightingale to sing one last song, the name Angelo parted from her lips, as did her last breath. The end.
I like that one much better than the story they had last week.
This one was so romantic. Yes, but I don't know if she really loved him. Otherwise, she would have wept real tears, I'm sure.
I love the name Angelo, don't you?
Who wrote it, Joe?
Your sister did.
You
I knew it. Oh, Joe, I'm so proud of you. Let me see.
Look, there it is.
By Miss Josephine March. That's what it says. Joe, this is so wonderful. And your father will be so pleased.
Oh, it's a start, I dare say. I mean, no one much will notice.
Oh, we know you're the most clever girl. And now it's in print, so others will know too.
By Miss Josephine March. It sounds so elegant. Wait till I tell those girls at school. Joe, you must tell us how all this came about.
Well, last spring, I brought that story of mine to the editor of the newspaper office. Oh, you wouldn't believe what a sour old face he has. But when I told...
Mrs. March, what is it, Hannah? It's one of those telegraph things. It's just been delivered.
What is it, Marmee?
It's from a hospital in Washington. Your father is ill. It says I should come at once. Children, I must leave right away. Poor father. Help me get ready, girls. There's so much to do.
The preparations were made quickly and quietly. I got Laurie to run down to Main Street and telegraph the hospital that Marty was on his way. Then Amy did the packing, and Meg and Marty went to the train depot to purchase a ticket for Washington. My job, I felt, was the most awful. I had to deliver a note that Aunt March had written, that Marty had written to Aunt March asking for some money to cover expenses.
Of course you come to me. Haven't I said that it was absurd for a man in a father-saving position to go into the army? Hadn't I projected that no good would come of it? But did anyone listen to me?
Father is ill, Aunt March, and Mother is leaving on the 4 o'clock train. We need your help.
This is a considerable amount of money mentioned in this letter, Josephine.
Whatever you can spare, Auntie.
He had no business putting his family in a separate position.
We are proud of our father, even if you're not. And we wouldn't come and ask for your lousy old money if we had anywhere else to turn.
Josephine!
I'll go now. So sorry to bother you, Aunt March.
I will think the matter over carefully and let your mother know before 4 o'clock. Meanwhile, I will try to forget your impudence, young lady.
Here are 2 bottles of wine to bring to you, Mr. March. I assure you they are of some quality and will be much appreciated once he's feeling better. And my dressing gown.
Mr. Lawrence, that isn't necessary.
Nonsense. I only wish I could escort you myself. But I do not travel on this kind of life and would soon prove to be a burden on me. So I've decided to send Mr. Brooke.
John, I will not hear of
It
it.
has all been arranged.
Mr. Lawrence has some commissions in Washington and I must see to. And I'll be more than happy to be of any service to you there.
Bless you both.
Nearly time for the train, ladies.
Let's get this trunk closed up.
Here's the money Aunt March sent over, Marmee.
And here's your muffler, Mommy. Beth and Ivy did the line.
Thank you, girls. But where's Joe?
She's been gone over an hour.
John, Theodore, let's get the trunk over to the carriage.
Yes, Grandfather.
I will not have you girls going down to the station.
Come on, Mommy.
I couldn't bear it. Now, you must obey Hannah. I leave you to her care and Mr. Lawrence's protection. Here's Joe.
Joe, where have you been?
Joe, I was afraid I would miss you.
So sorry about the fret, everyone. Here, my contribution to bringing Father home and making him comfortable.
$25.
Where did you get it,
Joe,
Joe?
I hope you haven't done anything rash to get it.
Oh no, I didn't beg, borrow, or steal it. It's my own. See, I made such a frightful mess of dealing with Aunt March.
Joe, she already sent the money.
Did she? I was hoping she would, but I couldn't be too sure, and I felt pretty responsible, and, well, I only sold what was my own.
Beautiful hair.
Joe, how could you?
Christopher Columbus. My dear Joe, there was no need of this. I love you all the more because of it.
Well, it doesn't affect the fate of the nation or anything, but I was walking down Walnut Street, and I saw these beautiful long tails of hair in the shop window, and I thought that they weren't any better than my own, and I felt it would do my brain some good to get that mop taken off. And, well, my head feels deliciously light and cool, and if it's a bit more boyish, it's more to my style, wouldn't you say?
I'm sure you're wonderful.
Joe, you are the darndest girl I ever did know. I will use the money wisely, Joe, for I know what you have done to get it.
The train, dear ladies.
Don't forget the lunch basket. Goodbye, my darlings. You must eat right to me.
Every day, Mommy. I will see to it.
And be strong and do not fret. And God will bless us and keep us all.
Goodbye, Mommy.
Goodbye.
Give my love to Father.
Take good care of her, John.
I will.
That night I stayed up late and kept away from the others.
Joe, you haven't gone to bed yet either?
No.
I can hear Amy snoring up there. Thank goodness the young ones can sleep.
Yes.
Joe, everything will be all right in the end. Don't you think?
Yes, and I see that Mr. Brooke went with Marmee, too.
Joe, I won't hear you say it.
He's a good man, Meg, and I'm glad that he's with her.
Yes.
Oh, Meg.
Oh, Joe, are you crying about Father?
No, not now.
And Mother will be fine.
Yes. Yes, I know.
What then?
My hair.
Joe, you're wonderful.
The weather grew cold and rainy, and the March family, as scattered about as they were, tried to stay in touch by way of the U.S. mail service.
Dearest Mother, how happy your last letter made us all feel. How glad we were to hear that Father's improving. We laughed and cried over it all afternoon. How kind Mr. Brooke is, and how fortunate it is that Mr. Lawrence's business detains him near you for so long, since he is so useful to you and Father.
No shame, Mama. I'm behaving myself nicely, although Meg sometimes says otherwise. But I try to keep peace, even when Joe acts so unladylike and I have to point it out to her. My French lessons are coming along well, but Hattie King does disturb me so when she shows up and talks French real fast. And she knows I cannot pick bonjour and merci like her because I've never been to France and she has. The sleeves of my blue dress were all worn out, so Meg put in new ones, but they don't match as I'd wish them to. Dear Mother, I'm going to press some pansies in this letter for you and Father. They're the last of the summers, for the frost came again last night, and the flower bed looked so mournful. I've been practicing Morning at Rest on the piano, but it makes me so sad because it is one of Father's favorites. I remember to wind the clocks each morning, and I've been visiting the Hummels to help with the baby. Mrs. Hummel talks of you and misses you so, even though I can only understand a little of what she says.
My precious Marmee, 3 cheers for Father and his much improved self. We are all behaving ourselves here more or less, and Aunt March grows more cross as the winter approaches. But I hold my tongue. Honest, I do. Laurie comes over often and keeps us in cheer, for he can be such a silly boy. And Mr. Lawrence is so kind playing Father to us. I think he rather enjoys it. I've tried to write some, but every time I put myself in that attic, I stare at the old furniture up there and my mind throbs with idleness. Your daughter authoress needs her family back together again before genius will burn. I'm afraid.
Give my dearest love to Father, and believe me when I say how much we miss you both. Your own, Meg.
Adieu. Pray love to Papa. Your affectionate daughter, Amy Curtis March. Oh, do come home soon to your loving little Beth.
Give him the lovingest hug there ever was, and kiss yourself a dozen times from your topsy-turvy Joe.
Then I'll tell you. Oh, Joe, the baby's dead.
Baby?
Mrs. Hummels, it died in my arms just before she got home.
Oh, how dreadful for you.
Not dreadful, just so sad. Mrs. Hummel had gone to get the doctor, and I was singing that lullaby that Mommy always used to. And the baby seemed to be asleep. And then it let out a faint cry and trembled and lay very still. The doctor said it was scarlet fever.
But Beth, you've never had scarlet fever.
The doctor told me to rush home and take Belladonna right away.
And so you shall. Hannah! Meg, Amy, come quickly! Oh, we should have never let you go. I should have gone myself.
Don't let Amy come here. She hasn't had the fever and I wouldn't want to give it to her.
Heavens, what is all this shouting about?
It's Beth. She may have the fever.
Oh, Lord, protect us.
Beth did have the fever, and by the next morning, her frail little body was burning with the ailment. We wanted to telegraph Marmee right away, but Hannah wouldn't hear of it. Amy, much against her will, was sent to stay with Aunt March. Dr. Banks came to check on Beth twice a day, and Meg had a telegraph all written and ready to send in case Beth's condition got any worse. After 5 days, Beth lost consciousness, and the doctor ordered that Mrs. March be sent for at once. Meg went to send the telegram, and I retreated to my attic room, feeling more despair than I had ever felt before.
What is it, Joe? Is Beth worse?
We've sent for Mother. The doctor told us to.
Oh, Joe, it's not as bad as that.
She doesn't even know us, Laurie. When she opens her eyes, she sees nothing. And there's no one here to help us bear it. Mother and Father are gone, and God seems so far away, I can't find him.
I'm here. Hold on to me, Joe.
Beth is my conscience, Laurie, my soul. I can't give her up. I can't.
Poor girl, you're worn out. You've had no sleep, and you really...
Why is it, Laurie, that the good, dear people always die young?
Not always. That's just in books.
Oh, Laurie.
Well, if it's any comfort to you, your mother will be here soon.
Perhaps not so soon. Meg only sent the telegram an hour ago.
But I telegraphed her yesterday.
What?
Hannah's instructions be dashed. I wired yesterday morning, and John answered she'd come at once.
Oh.
She'll be here tonight.
Oh, you did? Oh, my Laurie. Oh, how dreadful of me. I didn't mean to. It's just that, oh, you're such a dear. I couldn't help but fly at you.
I don't mind.
Marmie's coming.
On the late train. I shall meet her there at 2 in the morning.
Oh, Laurie, you're such an angel. How shall I ever repay you?
Fly at me again. I rather like it.
Hours ticked by slowly, and there was no change in Beth's condition. If only Marmee would come. If only Marmee would come.
If God spares Beth, I will never complain again.
God spares Beth. I will love and serve him all my life.
Oh, Joe, I wish I had no heart. It aches so.
If life is often as hard as this, Meg, I don't know how we shall ever get through it. Hannah! Hannah, come quickly! What's happening? Hannah!
Oh, my poor Beth.
Hannah?
The fever's turned, girls. She's sleeping naturally. Her skin is damp and she's breathing easy. Praise be given. Oh my goodness me.
Thank you, Laurie.
Marmee? Marmee? She's come. Oh, my dear girls. Where's our Beth? Right this way, Marmee.
Hannah was right. By morning, the fever had passed, and Beth's eyes were clear and quite bright. With Marmee home again and all of us nurses attending to her, Beth rapidly got her strength back. And by Christmas Eve, she was well enough to be brought downstairs to join the family.
dear one.
Merry Christmas, Mr. Lawrence.
Doesn't she look splendid?
She looks wonderful.
Thank you all. I love you all so much.
I'll go get the eggnog.
Beth, Mr. Lawrence has provided us with the most marvelous treats.
Once again.
Grandfather just can't help himself when it comes to those March girls. Are you comfortable there, my dear?
Yes, Mommy.
Here's something to celebrate with. A little taste of this, Miss Beth, and you'll have the color back in your cheeks.
I'll get the special wine glasses.
After all, it is Christmas.
John, what are you doing here?
You returned?
I have a special Christmas present for the March family.
My dear Beth.
And so the March family was together once more. It would be the last time, for the days ahead were filled with new people and new experiences. I can only pause and smile now when I think of that moment in time, that Christmas 1864, and then I frown and laugh when I think of what would become of those poor little women. Spring came, and with it young love. Not for Joe, thank you, but for Meg. Losing her was inevitable, but as was my way, I wasn't about to give her up without a fight.
Joe, please stop referring to Mr. Brooke as my John. It isn't proper or true. I've already told you that he's not mine, and I don't care much about him, and that's all there is to be said.
But you're not your old self, Meg, not one bit. And I know it's because of him. And Laurie tells me things.
What things?
How John feels about you.
Don't gossip about it, Joe. I couldn't bear it.
But I know you, Meg March. He'll come over here one day, get down on both knees and propose to you, and instead of giving him a firm no, you'll blush and cry and give in to him.
I'm not so silly and weak as you think. I know just what I should say before I prepared, so I need to be taken unaware.
Have you? What will you say then?
I should merely say, quite calmly and decidedly, thank you, Mr. Brooke. You were very kind. But I agree with my father that I am too young to enter into any engagement at present. So please say no more, and let us be friends as we were.
Capital. I wish I could see his face when you tell him.
What do you mean?
He's coming today. I mean, Laurie and I think he'll be coming today.
Today?
Oh, Meg, I'm so glad you're prepared. Everything will be all right after all. Oh, I wish I could be there to see his face.
Joe, where are you going?
Be firm, Meg.
Good afternoon, Miss March.
Good afternoon, Mr. Brooke.
I came to get my umbrella that I left. That is to see how your father finds himself today.
It's very well. He's in the rack. I mean, he's very well. It's in the rack. I'll go get it and tell him you're here.
Don't go. Are you afraid of me, Margaret?
How can I be afraid of you when you've been so kind to Father and the rest of us? I only wish I could thank you for it.
Shall I tell you how?
No, please don't. I'd rather not.
I won't trouble you, Meg. I love you so much. I only want to know if you care for me a little.
Thank you, Mr. Brooke. You're very kind, but I don't know.
Will you try and find out? I want to know so much.
I'm too young.
Then I'll wait. In the meantime, you could be learning to like me. Would it be such a difficult thing to learn?
Well, not if I choose to learn, but
Please choose to learn, Meg. And maybe I could help you. I do love to teach, and it would be much easier than German.
I don't choose. Please go away and leave me be.
Do you really mean that?
Yes, I do.
Then I hope that you'll change your mind someday. Don't play with me, Meg. I didn't think that of you.
Don't think of me at all then.
I wonder if that's possible.
Bless me, what is all this? What's going on here? Margaret?
Excuse me, ladies.
It's Father's friend. I'm so surprised to see you, Aunt March.
That's evident. But what was Father's friend saying to make you look like a peony? There is mischief going on here, Margaret, and I insist on knowing what it is.
Oh, we were merely talking, Aunt March. Mr. Brooke came for his umbrella.
The Lawrence boy's tutor? And is that the sort of person you associate with? Hired help? Hush, he'll hear. Don't hush me, young lady. I've something to say to you, and I must free my mind at once. Sit. Tell me, do you mean to go and marry this person? For if you do, not one penny of my money will this and be a sensible girl.
I shall marry whomever I please, Aunt March, and you can leave your money to anyone you like.
Hoity-toity, is that the way you take my advice? Well, you'll be sorry for it by and by, when you've tried love in a shabby little cottage and found it a failure.
Can't be any better than what some people find in big houses.
Now, Margaret, my dear, be reasonable and take my advice. I mean, it's kindly. I don't want you to spoil your life by making one mistake at the beginning. You ought to marry well and help your family. It is your duty to make a rich match.
Mother and father don't think so. They like John even though he is poor.
Your parents, my dear, have no more worldly wisdom than two babies.
I'm glad of it.
This tutor has no money, no respectable relations, I understand, and no prospects.
John is good and wise. He's got heaps of talent, and he's sure to work and able to get on. And I'm proud to think that he cares for me, though I am poor and young and silly.
He knows you have rich relations, child. That is the secret of his liking.
Aunt March, how dare you say such a thing? My John wouldn't marry for money any more than I would.
Well, I'll wash my hands of the whole affair. You're a willful child, and you lose more than you know by this piece of folly. Don't expect anything from me once you are married. I'm done with you. Forever.
Thank you for defending me, Meg. John, you heard? And I thank you, Aunt March, for proving that you do care for me a little. I didn't know how much until she said all those awful things about you.
And I mean go away?
No.
Miss Lane be happy?
Yes.
May I?
Meg, what did he say when you... Christ Columbus! They were married, and though I was resigned to it, I couldn't help but blame Aunt March for it all. The war finally came to an end, and Father was hired as an assistant minister at the church. Meg and John settled in a small house nearby, and before a year passed, they had twins, a boy and a girl. Everyone was thrilled except Aunt March, who found it excessive. I no longer worked for our rich relative. During her stay there, when Beth was ill, Amy had made a more favorable impression than I ever did on the old woman. Soon Amy was reading to Aunt March. Beth's frail health was much the worse for her bout with scarlet fever, and she was able to help Hannah less and less, but her pure and open spirit was unchanged. As for myself, writing occupied more and more of my time, and I was able to sell a story often enough to contribute substantially to the family savings. But with Meg out of the house and Laurie away at college, life seemed quieter and much less fun. Was it because I was finally growing up?
Is this the home of that literary genius March you hear so much talk about?
Laurie, what a surprise! But your letter said...
I left campus a few days early. I did well on my exams, you'll be surprised to hear. John Brooke ought to be proud.
Me too. He's not the only one who had to drum some sense into that head of yours. Sit down and tell me all the news. Have you proposed marriage to anyone this week?
Not this week.
Oh, Laurie, you are incorrigible. According to your letters, you've fallen in love every month this past semester.
Don't be like that, Joe. Jealousy isn't for you.
Jealousy? I just didn't want you to give flirting a bad name. And you do flirt. Atrociously, Laurie.
I'm learning. But I'm glad you can't flirt, Joe. It's really refreshing to see a sensible, straightforward girl who can be jolly and kind without making a fool of herself.
Yes, I've grown quite matured and dignified since you've been away.
You have? I see you burnt the hem on that dress as well.
Oh, that couldn't be helped.
And Grandfather tells me you gave Amy a mild shock by racing all the way to church on Easter Sunday.
Well, I was late. Besides, it was a luscious day.
You haven't changed.
No, but you have. Why are you looking at me in that way?
In what way?
That painfully serious way?
Is it that obvious, Joe?
What is it, Laurie?
I must say, Joe, and you must hear me. It's no use. We've got to have it out.
I don't think I'm going to like this conversation, but say what you will. I'll listen.
I've loved you ever since I've known you. Couldn't help it. I've tried to show it in the past, but you wouldn't let me.
Oh, Laurie, I wish to say this for you. It's just that I don't love you, and it would be a lie to say I do when I don't.
Really? Truly, Joe?
Really, truly, dear. Oh, I'm so sorry, so desperately sorry. I would kill myself if it would make it any better. Oh, I just wish you wouldn't take it so badly.
How am I supposed to take it, Joe? We are no longer children. We aren't playing a game. We cannot always remain like we were.
Can't we? I suppose not.
Of course, there is one very logical explanation for your lack of feeling for me.
Is there?
There is someone else that you love.
Is there indeed, wild old Joe March? Who'd have me? No, Laurie, there's no one else. And I haven't the slightest idea of going off and loving anyone else.
But you will after a while. And what will become of me?
You'll fall in love too like a sensible boy and forget all these troubles. Someone fine, lovely, and accomplished who will never make you feel ashamed. Someone elegant. Not odd old Joe March with her scribbling in awkward ways.
Anything more?
Nothing more. Except I don't think that I shall ever marry, for I love my liberty too much to give it up for any mortal man.
I know better, Joe. You think so now, but there will come a time, sooner than you think, when you will meet someone, some fool who makes you think you are something that you're not, and you will love him tremendously, and live and die for him. I know you will, Joe. It's just your way. Well, I, for one, will not be able to stand by and watch such a thing happen.
Where are you going, Laurie?
To the devil!
Joe, dear. Mommy, do you remember the other day you asked me what my wishes were?
Yes, Joe. You seemed somewhat despondent. I wanted to know what was on your mind.
Well, I know one of my wishes. I want to go away this winter for a change.
Why, Joe?
I'm feeling somewhat restless and anxious here.
Anxious for what, dear?
Just seeing, doing, and learning more than I am. Oh, Aunt March used to talk about going to Europe one day and taking me with her as her companion, but now I know that it won't come true. Oh, Marmee, all I do now is brood over my own small affairs. I need some stirring up to try my wings.
And where do you want to try your wings?
New York. I had a wonderful idea yesterday, and this is it. Do you remember Mrs. Kirk, the lady who wrote you asking you if you knew a respectable young person to take care of her children so and whatnot? Well, I think I could suit her just fine if I tried.
I'm sure you would, and it would be a good experience for you. But what about your writing?
All the better for a change. Here, I've become somewhat stale. In New York, I could see new things, get new ideas.
I have no doubt of it. But are these the only reasons for your sudden fancy?
No, Marmee.
It's Laurie, isn't it?
Yes. I love the dear boy with all my heart, but not in the way he wants me to.
I'm glad of that, Joe.
You are?
Yes, for I don't think you're suited to one another. As friends, you are very happy together. But I fear you are too much alike, too fond of freedom, not to mention your strong wills, to be ever truly happy as husband and wife.
Really, Marmee? I mean, Aunt March would have a conniption fit if she knew I was tossing off a Lawrence.
Let's put it this way. Mrs. Moffat will have reason for hope for her Clara.
Oh, Marmee, you're wonderful.
Let's discuss this New York idea with your father tonight after dinner.
And so plans were made to send Joe March out into the wide, wide world. Mrs. Kirk gladly accepted me a travel arrangement for me, but leaving that this most difficult part of my plan.
I'll write to you, my Beth, every day if I can, and you'll have lovely letters to keep you company instead of moody old Joe like you have now.
Oh, I'm so happy for you, Joe.
Are you, my dear?
I always knew that you would have to go off to become a great writer someday.
Well, governess at Mrs. Kirk's boarding house isn't exactly like going off to Paris to write poetry, but it's a start.
I shall miss you, Joe.
And I shall miss you, my precious Beth. I'd take you with me if I...
No, Joe. I belong here and only here.
When I arrived in New York, so timid and nervous that no one back home would recognize me for a while. And once inside Mrs. Kirk's boarding house, I felt a little lost for myself. There you are, my dear. Make yourself bright. I'm on the road more than I had to. It was a great anxiety to be on my mind.
What are you doing, Professor?
Mrs. Kirk, I'm afraid it is I who is to blame.
He really is a bear, Mama. Didn't I tell you?
Get off him immediately, Kitty. Now.
My turn. My turn.
Oh, I'm afraid not, Miss Minnie. We are disturbing all the boarders.
What will Miss March think of us? Joseph, these are my girls, Minnie and Kitty.
Hello.
Hello. And this is Professor Baird, who's on the second floor, rear round.
I must apologize for my rude behavior, Miss March.
Oh, not at all. I do a pretty good bear impersonation myself.
You see, Mrs. Kirk, the children were teasing me about my name. Professor Bear is a bear, they say. And so I have become bear for them.
Girls, what have I told you about teasing the professor while he's working? Thank goodness you come. Before my girls become as wild as horses. Now off you go. Miss O'Connor saved it to you half an hour ago.
Okay.
They are not bad girls.
Bad girls? No, not at all, Mrs. Kirk. But very spirited.
Spirited. That's the word. The professor knows.
But I must not intrude any further. Good afternoon, Miss March. I hope you like it here.
And I'm sure I will, Professor. Thank you.
Good. Now I must return to my room.
He's a dear man from Berlin. Very learned and good, but as poor as a church mouse. He takes some pupils and does some translating, but in Europe they say he was quite the scholar. Now write, it's a sad story. Now write this way. Your room is a fine view of the church tower.
And so began my career studies. As childhood career, New York was both a stimulating and discouraging place. I submitted a news story to a weekly newspaper only to be told that it was not sensational enough. It wasn't until I added gypsies, duchesses, bandits, and murderers that they liked it. When I became a New York writer of sorts, and at what price? I soon learned the professor was indeed a scholar, as Mrs. Kirk had said. That German knew more literature and English than I could have ever imagined knowing.
Ah, Miss March.
Professor?
I have been waiting anxiously to show you something. And so I wait here because I know you will come.
What is it, Professor?
I have found the Emerson that I mentioned to you yesterday. It was in my room among all the books and papers that make such a mess. But I find it and I give it to you.
Thank you, Professor. I'll read it and return it as quickly as I can.
Oh, no. For you to keep. You are a young writer. And this book says what is in my heart about writers.
Thank you, Professor. I don't know what to say.
Then say nothing. It makes me happy to give it.
To Miss Josephine March, may all your words be as extraordinary as the field you have chosen. Friedrich Baer. Oh, Professor, these words shame me.
Why do you say that?
Well, I've yet to write anything extraordinary. I mean, I'm just a scribbler, and a pretty ordinary one at that.
Perhaps sometime you will let me see them.
Read my stories? Oh, I couldn't. I'd be too embarrassed.
Perhaps I shall see them not as a teacher, but as a friend.
Yes, someday. Of course, I promise.
Good. Now you must tell me your thoughts on the Goldsmith novel.
As the weeks passed, I felt that Mrs. Kirk's was mine as well. Little Kitty and Minnie were indeed spirited, but we got along splendidly and had a wonderful time.
8 plus 8 equals 16. 9 plus 9 equals 18. 10 plus 10 equals 20.
Josephine, you're back. Finally.
Yes, we've been at the park. Why, something wrong, Mrs. Kirk?
We found lampposts, Mama, and squirrels, divided by 10s.
That's very nice, girl. Miss March is a visitor.
I have?
Yes, dear, in the sitting room. Come along.
11 plus 11 equals 22.
Amy, on March!
Do you realize we've been waiting here for over 30 minutes?
Hello, Auntie. But such a surprise. Why didn't you write me and tell me you were coming for a visit?
We aren't here for a visit. I thought we should pay a common courtesy call since we were passing through.
Passing through?
How about these this afternoon, Joe? I'm accompanying Aunt March to Europe.
Oh, Amy, how wonderful for you.
I know I once spoke of bringing you with me, Josephine, but you must admit Amy is a much more suitable companion.
I hope you don't mind terribly, Joe. I know you've always dreamt of going.
Oh, well, I'm disappointed. That's pretty certain. Oh, but I'll get there sometime. In the meantime, how wonderful for you, Amy. You'll get to see the world's greatest paintings and see the
I'm
museum.
going purely for medicinal reasons. I shall be taking the bosses in highly respectable places intending to my health.
I'll write to you about everything, Joe. I believe Europe will make a real woman out of me.
I bet it shall. And you'll probably meet a handsome young Italian count and marry into his titled family and live in a palazzo.
And I'll send for you and we'll dig in the Roman Forum for relics and carry out all the plans we made so many times.
Ridiculous chatter, the very idea. Come, Amy, we must see that my trunks are put aboard.
Must you go so soon?
Steamships do not wait for idle time. Goodbye, Josephine.
Goodbye, Aunt March. I mean, bon voyage.
Goodbye, Joe. I promise I will write, and if you like, I'll give my best to Laurie and Mr. Lawrence when we meet them in Paris.
Laurie in Paris?
Why, didn't you know? Surely they stopped by to say hello when they were in New York last month.
No.
They're both left on the 15th. I think it's what convinced Aunt March to go. She said that if Europe was good enough for the Lawrences, it was good. Oh, goodbye, Joe.
Oh, goodbye, my Amy.
Miss Joe,
Yes, Professor.
I wanted to talk to you about your stories. Oh, but this is a bad time, perhaps.
Oh, no, Professor. Actually, a very good time. You read them all?
Ah, yes.
Now tell me what you think, and don't be stingy with it.
Miss Joe,
Pretty awful, aren't they?
it is only that, my friend. Why do you waste your talent like this? You are too good for such... Oh, I'm too cruel.
Oh, no,
I don't know my place.
No, it's not you. It's just that...
Tell me, my friend.
Oh, Aunt March is off to Europe with Amy when for years she talked about taking me with her. And then I find out that Laurie was in New York and he didn't even stop to call on me.
Laurie? Is this the friend you have told me so much about?
Yes.
He must be a very foolish man to do such a thing.
Oh, no, Professor, I'm the fool. I deserve everything that's happened to me. And you're right about those stories. I ought to be ashamed. It's just that the maid of the dungeon paid for this year's Christmas gifts. And the gypsy lover, that let me buy some new books and send some money home.
You have talent, Miss Joe. I can tell from these that you have great talent.
Do you really think so, Professor?
Yes, but you must treat your talent with care. You must only write what you feel here, in your heart, in your soul. And then your talent will blossom. And then you will truly be a writer.
Oh, thank you, Professor. You are so kind and wise as well. I will do as you say. Thank you.
Mon cher Josephine, that is for a minute. Such a delightful time I am having. Not even Auntie Hattie has been on leave. That there certainly is something to surprise. But I have such respect for the old and romantic things. On sunny days I walk through the Chulari Gardens, and on rainy days I am in the woods reveling in pictures. I'm cultivating my eye and taste as fast as I can. Laurie makes fun of me, but he is so great. Yesterday at the museum, I saw Napoleon's cocked hat and gray coat, his famous cradle, and even his old toothbrush. Also, Marie Antoinette's tissue, the ring of St. Denis, Charlemagne's sword, and many other interesting things. Who would imagine that I'd get to see such things? Oh, Auntie March is calling, so I must close now. I long to see you again, and in spite of all my nonsense, I go for honey.
This castle has a pleasant seat, and the air numbly and sweetly recommends itself unto our gentle senses.
I do not know if the kind Mrs. Kirk would appreciate a boarding house being compared with Macbeth's castle.
Oh, but Professor, it was wonderful. It's always been my dream to see Macbeth performed on stage.
I thought it was your dream to play Macbeth yourself.
Oh, that too. What a villain I would have been.
I should very much like to see it.
But that man tonight, he was capital, just as I imagined it. But I'd still love to get my hands on that Scottish thane. I will not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet and to be baited by the rabble's curse.
Bravo, bravo!
That was our favorite scene. Laurie and I.
Tell me, have you heard from your friend Laurie?
No, but Amy saw him in Paris, but not a word from him. I really did mess things up there, Professor.
Perhaps you only did what was in your heart.
Perhaps, but I will never know for sure. But what a lovely time I had tonight. Oh, Professor, I want to be something special. I want to do splendid and exciting things. If I can't play Macbeth, I'd like to write things just as wonderful. Such a conceit. But if you won't tell Mr. Shakespeare, neither will I.
Have you been writing lately, my friend?
Not a word. Goodness knows I've tried. It's just that every time I write, it comes out so So, like you say, Professor, if it's not straight from the heart, it's nothing at all. Oh, and here I am going on about goodness knows what, and you have pupils first thing in the morning. Kitty and Minnie will be up early, so, oh, we must go.
Then I shall thank you for a wonderful evening, and will say my good night.
Oh, Professor, I must thank you. Oh, I can't wait to write my Beth and tell her. She'll be so thrilled. I wish you could meet my Beth. She's not a silly old goose like her sister. She's so true.
I should very much like to meet her someday.
But she'd be petrified of you, of course.
Am I so fearsome?
Oh, no, Professor. It's just that Beth tends to shy away from strangers. But once she got to know you, she'd see that...
What would she see, Miss Jo?
A kind, dear man whom she could trust and depend on.
Yes, she would.
Oh, but it's getting late. I'll just turn the lamp off in this room and... It's a note from Meg. Mrs. Kirk must have brought it in while we were at the theater.
What is it, Miss Jo?
Joe, Mommy doesn't know I'm writing this to you, and she would not approve. But Joe, do come home as soon as you can. For Beth is much worse, and I fear the
Miss
time is
Jo?
running out.
It's my Beth. She's ill. I have to get home first thing in the morning.
I see.
Oh, Mrs. Kirk will understand. Oh, my precious Beth. Oh, I must start packing, Professor.
I understand. Perhaps you will allow me to accompany you to the train station in the morning. I should like to be of some service to you.
Oh, could you, Professor? Oh, that would be wonderful. Oh, thank you. Oh, I must go.
Soundly, and your mother is with her. Come in here and let me look at you. My wild Joe, how different you seem.
Oh, your wild Joe is just the same, I fear. No hope for improvement. I must have said the wrong thing about twice a day in New York, but I don't regret any of it, for I had such a splendid time.
So we gathered from your letters, but it is so good to have you home again.
But what of Beth, Father? She'll be all right, won't she?
I'm afraid not. Every doctor says the same thing. And hoping for recovery now seems almost prideful. All we can do now is appreciate Beth's sweet disposition while we still have her with us.
Oh, Father.
Beth had indeed maintained her sweet, unselfish ways. We spent hours in her room talking of foolish things in days gone by. It wasn't until several days after my return that we were able to speak of what truly occupied our minds.
When I am gone, Joe, we must stand by Mother and Father.
We won't talk of such things.
But we must. You see, Meg has Johnny things to comfort her, and Amy has a whole new world opening up to her. But Mother and Father, they'll need you all the more, Joe.
I'll do my best, Beth, but I'd rather believe that you...
Please don't. I've been resigned to it for so long. It only hurts me to see those I love trying so hard to keep hoping. I've always thought that I was never intended to live very long.
Oh, but dear Beth, that's just a morbid fancy you have because you've been feeling so unwell.
I've always known I'm not like the rest of you. I never made plans for what I was going to be when I grew up. I could never imagine myself as grown or married. I never thought of myself as anything. Shy little Beth, hiding myself away in this house of no use anywhere but here. I wanted never to go away. The hard part now is leaving you all. I'm not afraid, Joe.
but it seems I shall be homesick for you all, even in heaven.
Beth was with us until the spring, and then one night, as quietly and unobtrusively as she had tried to live her whole life, she left us. Her face the next morning was full of such painless peace that those of us who loved her best couldn't help but smile through our tears and thanked God that Beth was well at last. What would Jo March do without her conscience, her soul? Well, Beth had left them with me, and not knowing how else to handle my grief, I turned to writing. I wrote about me and Beth and all of us and how angry and alone I felt. And the more I wrote, the more I began to understand what the professor had said about writing only what you feel in your heart. But enough adventure for Jo March at the moment. Elsewhere, another adventure for these girls. I will tell you of the romance of Amy and Laurie, which later related to me by the participants themselves. It began in Paris.
There you are, mademoiselle. You're on set. I might find you here. Now tell me, how many times are you going to sketch that same statue?
Until I get it right, Mr. Lawrence.
I think it looks frightful enough as a statue. Why put it on paper as well?
It's a very great statue, Laurie, and by sketching it, I shall try to understand its greatness. That's what all the artists say.
Oh, Amy, I'm bored with statues and gardens and... Amy, will you come for a ride with me this afternoon? The valet at the hotel took me to a small town, not far from Paris, where they have bullfights.
No, thank you.
Why not?
You forget, Mr. Lawrence, that I am in Europe as Aunt March's companion.
You know the old woman will nap all afternoon.
And while I am not required by her, I will use the time to broaden my horizons and add to my cultural well-being.
Amy, you're so busy trying to be a highbrow lady that you don't know how to have any fun anymore.
And you, Mr. Lawrence, are so busy being a child that you don't know how to do anything but have fun.
Me? A child? Why, you're the one...
I got the arms wrong.
Oh, Amy, you're impossible.
And then, a few weeks later in Heidelberg, Amy tried to broaden her cultural horizons by listening to Beethoven and trying to understand the German temperament.
And Joe wrote to me about this German professor in New York who told her all about Beethoven and how to really appreciate his music.
Did she?
She said that to understand Beethoven, you had to understand the German temperament.
That's probably true.
Music is something that is so easy to like, but so difficult to really appreciate.
Then I suppose I shouldn't even bother.
You know, Joe's right about you, Laurie.
I very much doubt that.
You're a frightfully unserious person.
Joe said that?
Well, she implied it.
Well, what does Joe know anyway? Does she ever act like a grown-up adult?
No, come to think of it.
Well, there you have it.
Still, I think of a man.
I'm trying to listen to the music.
Things got somewhat more difficult in Baden-Baden. Laurie, in his despair over failing with Amy as well as Joe, had taken to gambling and drinking. When Amy came across him, he was rather drunk.
Laurie, there you are.
Miss March, never thought I'd find you at a casino. Have a change of heart or what? Oh, won't you sit down?
I've been looking all over for you. Your grandfather needs you. He seems rather ill this evening, and I thought...
And he sent you to find me?
No, I just thought you ought to know.
I know. Ever since we came here, he's done nothing but complain. People come to Baden-Baden to improve their health. He comes here to get sick.
And so you go off and leave him all alone to go to some gambling casino to spend his money?
My money. What's left of it? If it was his money, I'd still be in there.
Theodore Lawrence,
Yes, Miss Well-bred Amy March.
Do you want to know what I honestly think of you?
Pining to be told.
Well, I despise you.
Why's that, Pray?
Because with every chance of being good, useful, and happy, you're faulty, lazy, and miserable.
Strong language, mademoiselle.
If you like it, I'll go on.
Please do. It's quite interesting.
I thought you'd find it so. Selfish people always like to hear themselves.
Oh, so I'm selfish too, am I?
When I first saw you in Paris, I thought you'd grown up and changed. And I swore to myself that I could stop being so worried about myself and try to better myself. But over about you, and maybe about me as well, and I quite despise you for it.
And then finally there was Rose. Laurie seemed about to change her heart, for there was much joy in her temper that Amy had come.
Good afternoon, Amy.
Hi, how's the grandpa?
Much better, thank you. I think Rose agrees. We even flew the back to the library this morning. I know grandfather and all the books.
I'm glad to hear it as well. I think they sound like the reasons on March also. She's an unusually cheerful mood these past days.
That's good. We're looking at any more old churches.
Yes.
No shortage of old churches in Rome.
According to this book, the Cappuccini Chapel should be right down the street, but I don't see it.
Let me see.
Perhaps it is too hot anyway. Do you notice how quiet the streets get this time?
Siesta time. I can't make head or tails of this map.
Siesta time? What a quaint idea. Though I can't see folks back in New England taking to it.
Perhaps you're just a little bit homesick, Amy.
Perhaps I am. I was thinking about Beth again this morning, and how strange it will be to go home and she won't be there. And I thought to myself how wise she was. In her childlike ways, she was so wise. And here I am, traveling all over Europe without March and taking it all in. But I don't feel as if I've grown at all.
Oh, but you have. I mean, you're not the same little Amy March I remember back home.
I don't feel the same, but am I anything or any more better than I was? That's what I want.
Amy, I know you don't think much of me, and you've said so on certain occasions. But in my opinion, you are quite a remarkable person. And what you think of me means more than I ever thought any other person could matter. And if you would only forgive me, what I'm trying to say is, oh, I can't read much in Italian. Good day, Miss March.
Laurie.
But it's perfect, of course. Amy loves buying things in elegant places so much, and Laurie can provide them for her. I would have been a perpetual embarrassment to the dear boy. Amy will be a credit to him and to herself.
I think our Amy has changed, Joe. In her letter, she seems much different, less flighty and self-absorbed. And while her genuine concern for you and how you might react to her news, well, I think it's touching in its own sincerity.
Perhaps Laurie's the one who's changed her. He could make any of us March girls do just about anything, except get me to marry him.
Oh, Joe, do you mind awfully?
Regrets? No, Meg, not many.
Oh, Joe, we do worry about you. You know, Joe, the bravest and boldest of the bunch. But now you seem so fragile.
Oh, I'll be all right, and no one is to make a fuss.
So, how's your writing going?
Well, pretty fair. I just sent a novella off to Professor Bear, and if he feels it's as good as I think it is, I'll be overjoyed.
Do you and the professor write each other often?
Oh, I scribble off pages to him every time genius burns, and being the kind man that he is, he answers each letter with patience and care. But that's just the kind of man he is, Meg. Kind and caring.
Your professor sounds like he's touched Joe's heart.
My heart, yes. But he's a gentleman, Meg, and a scholar, too. He sees right through me and my silly stories and is not afraid to tell me so. So you'd better give up any romantic notions you had about the two of us.
I will, as long as you promise you won't.
Meg, John has arrived with the twins. They're waiting up in the carriage.
Oh, I forgot all about our picnic. I must run. Goodbye, Joe.
Bye, Meg.
See you on Tuesday, Mommy, for dinner.
Give the children a kiss for me.
I will.
Marty, Meg's told me the news, and I'm behaving myself, so it's safe to come in.
My Joe, don't be too cross with me. I wanted to tell you myself, but Meg said that Amy insisted she break the news to you.
Amy knows I always try to act more mature in front of Meg.
Amy was frightfully worried about you. First she takes your place and goes to Europe without March, and then she
It
and
was my
Laurie.
own fault in both cases. I mean, the whole world seems to know I said I refused Laurie. Did they think I was just teasing him?
I knew you were sincere, but lately I have thought that if Laurie came back and asked you again, you might feel perhaps like giving a different answer. Forgive me, dear, but I can't help seeing that you are very lonely, and sometimes there's a hungry look in your eyes that goes straight to my heart. So I fancied Laurie might fill that empty place if he tried now.
No, Marmee, it's better as it is. But perhaps you're right. I am lonely. And if Laurie had asked again, I might have said yes. But not because I love the dear boy anymore, but because I care more to be loved now than I did when he first asked.
I'm glad to hear that, Joe, for it shows you are getting on. Maybe someday,
Oh,
perhaps
bosh
you'll-
on someday. I know, Marmee. I ought to start behaving myself right now.
Joe.
I know. Girls are supposed to be happy and contented with someday. And I don't blame anyone but myself. Not Laurie, Amy, or Aunt March. So there it is. Jo's finally got it all put together for herself.
Of course I minded that Laurie would marry Amy, and all the rationalizing in the world couldn't change that. But I knew I did not love her, and it was foolish to pretend I did. So I hid myself away in the attic and wrote, and read the professor's letters over and over again. And in my fancy, I made those letters mean things that they didn't really say.
Wait for me, my friend. I may be a little late, but I shall surely come to you.
If only he would. So good, so kind, so patient, lovely always, my dear friend. I didn't half value him enough when I had him, but now that he is gone, I should love to see him again. For everybody is going away from me, and I am all alone.
I would not yield to kiss the ground before young Malcolm's feet.
Laurie, is this Theodore Lawrence I see before me? Handle toward my hand. Come, let me clutch thee. I have not yet, but I see thee still.
It's really me, Joe.
Oh, Laurie.
You're glad to see me then?
Glad. Words can't express it. But where's Amy?
Your mother has her down at Meg's. We stopped there on the way. They were all coming here, but I couldn't wait. I wanted to be the first to
You've
tell you.
gone and gotten married.
I have.
Actually married.
Very much so, thank you.
Have mercy on us. What dreadful thing will you do next?
A characteristic, but not exactly a complimentary congratulations.
What do you expect when you creep in here like a burglar and take one's breath away? Spring news on me like that? In fact, I'm not even sure I'm dreaming all this.
I apologize, Joe, but you know how I could never stand to keep a secret.
Yes. So, tell me all about it. Sit down. How long have you been a married man?
6 weeks at the American consulate in Paris.
6 weeks, and look at you already. You look more grown and distinguished.
Yes, so you really ought to treat me with more respect.
How can I, when the thought of you actually settled and married is so irresistibly funny, I can hardly keep from laughing.
You still see through me, don't you, Joe?
Always will. But I'm so happy for you and Amy. I'll behave myself.
Are you, Joe? I mean, happy for us?
Did you think I'd throw rocks at your return?
Well, I wouldn't entirely blame you if you did.
How you underestimate me, Mr. Lawrence.
Joe, I want to say something, and then we'll put it all behind us forever. I never will stop loving you, but that love is altered. I love Amy in the way I thought I cared for you, but I see now that I was headstrong and stubborn, and wanted my best friend to also be my wife. But I've grown up, Joe. I've learned to love Amy, and she's helped me to learn more about myself. And I feel that I can honestly share my heart between Sister Joe and wife Amy, and love them both dearly if differently. Will you believe us? Will you believe me, Joe? And let us go back to the happy old times when we first knew one another?
I believe you, Laurie, with all my heart. But we are no longer boy and girl, and we can't expect those happy times to return. We are man and woman now with work to do. Playtime is over, and we must give up our frolicking.
Joe, you seem so different all of a sudden.
Again, how you underestimate me, Mr. Lawrence. Oh, I shall miss the boy you once were, but I will admire the man who will be my sister's husband.
Thank you, Joe.
Well, let us go in.
They're here.
Then let's go see that wife of yours.
Where is she? Where's my dear Joe?
Here I am, but your husband's already gone and ruined your surprise.
Oh, Joe, I've missed you so.
And look at you. I think the new Mrs. Lawrence is quite a lady. I wonder where silly old Amy's gone.
Oh, she's still here. Not even Laurie could change me completely.
Come inside, everybody. Hannah has her tea ready for hours.
Hannah!
Mr. Lawrence, you must be looking forward to some rest after chasing your grandson all around Europe.
I've missed my library, that's for sure, and my friends. There was only one March girl in Europe, and she's Mrs. Lawrence now.
Ain't it a sight to see her standing here fine as a fiddle, and hear folks calling our little lady Mrs. Lawrence?
Hannah, 4 months without your popovers? It's a wonder I can stand it all.
Now sit yourselves down, everybody, and Hannah will pour tea.
Oh, you should have heard the twins when they saw Amy.
Pity auntie, they kept saying. Very pity. You know, they've grown into the most darling little things. Can you imagine that we were ever that small?
Now it looks as if it's going to storm and all my tablecloths are out drying.
Amy, how did Aunt March handle the crossing? Dreadfully. The poor woman just could not abide boats. I kept saying to her, Auntie, let me stay with you in your cabin. But she wouldn't hear of it. You're a married woman now, she kept saying. Your place is with your husband.
Why, was Laurie ill as well?
I believe my aunt has finally approved something a member of our family has done. By marrying a Lawrence, Amy, I fear you have endeared us to her forever.
Laurie, could you get that? Hannah couldn't possibly.
I, for one, want to hear all about the wedding. Come, Amy, let's hear your version of it.
I beg your pardon for the intrusion. Please, is this the March house?
It is. Come in, make yourself at home.
But it seems I have come at a bad time. I wanted to see Miss Josephine, but...
You'd best come quickly, Laurie. They're telling the most amazing lies about you in there.
Don't mind us. I'll just get Joe.
You are Laurie?
Yes, that's me.
You have returned then.
From Europe. This very day, in fact.
Maybe it would be best if I just left this with you then.
No,
I do not wish to disturb.
I'm sure she'd want to talk to you. Joe! You see...
But you can't cross the Atlantic without 2 chaperones, she said. And my help will restrict me to my cabin. So Laurie said, okay, then we'll get married in Paris before we sail. You should have seen her face.
Laurie, what is it? Very strange. This man at the door told me to give this to you, Joe.
For me? I don't understand.
I told him to stay, but he said that he...
Friedrich! Oh, excuse me.
Joe?
Where's she gone, Laurie?
Friedrich! For Columbus. Friedrich!
Professor Bear! Miss Joe, you will get me all wet. Come under this umbrella, please.
But where are you going?
I did not mean to intrude. I could see that you were having a party.
But you'll come all this way, come back inside. It's only family. Laurie and Amy have returned from Europe and they're married. Can you believe such a thing? And here you show up. Well, what's this?
Open it, please.
My book. It's published.
I was so impressed with it that I sent it to a friend of mine. As you can see, he liked it too. Published it. I would have told you twice right away, but I wanted to bring it to you myself and surprise you.
You certainly have done that, Professor.
So, you are not so sad?
I'm thrilled.
No, I mean about your friend Laurie getting married.
No, Professor. And I'm more than happy to see you than I can say. Come inside. I want you to meet Marmee and Father and...
One moment first, Miss Joe. I must say some things to you. I would have told you sooner, but I feared that your friend Laurie and you would. I mean to say, I would have come sooner, but
You're here now, and that's what's important.
yes.
You must stay for a while.
Joe, I am not a rich man. I am just an old fellow with no fortune but a little learning. Yet I had long hoped that in your heart, you...
Professor, I believe you've always known what was in my heart. Come, my dear Friedrich, welcome home. And so here ends the story of Joe March and how she got to be what she was. Not exactly the best of both, but for me, never anything less than amazing. Friedrich and I married and opened a school for small boys. We had 1 year together, and each was as precious as the last. Soon before he died, he said to me, "Thank you, my friend, for sharing your life. I think I'll finally get to meet your dear Beth." And that is how I picture heaven. Friedrich and Beth together waiting for me. They both continue to teach me so much.